There's always a new corner of the world waiting to be explored. Some are well known, others are still secrets, but all are worth the journey. These are the ones you'll be glad you found. Think paradise is unreachable? Then you haven't seen Gunayala. This autonomous archipelago off Panama's Caribbean coast, also known as the San Blas Islands, is a scatter of over 300 palm-fringed islets, only 49 of which are inhabited. Here, turquoise water laps against white sand, and the sky seems to touch the sea. Geographically isolated yet rich in culture, Gunayala is governed by the indigenous Guna people, who have fiercely preserved their language, customs, and identity. Traditional dress, vibrant molas, handmade textiles, and communal leadership define daily life. There are no luxury resorts, just eco-cabanas, hammocks, and the gentle rhythm of waves. Travelers can island hop by wooden canoe, snorkel coral reefs, or learn about Guna myths passed down through generations. Far from the modern world, Gunayala is a testament to cultural resilience and the enduring allure of simplicity. It's not just a destination, it's a gentle rebellion against time. What if a city in India felt more like a French seaside village than a bustling South Asian port? Pondicherry, India, delivers just that illusion. Located on the southeastern coast, this former French colony still hums with quiet boulevards, pastel townhouses, and bougainvillea-laced facades. It's a cultural fusion. Baguettes meet biryani, and Tamil temples rise beside colonial mansions. Sunlight dances on the Bay of Bengal, while incense drifts from hidden courtyards. The White Town district is Pondicherry's most photogenic area, a grid of colonial architecture with mustard-colored buildings and teal shutters. Cafes spill into the streets, and bicycles glide past ivy-covered churches. Founded in 1926, the Sri Aurobindo Ashram attracts spiritual seekers from around the globe. Meditation halls, hushed libraries, and lotus ponds offer quiet introspection in the heart of the city. Every corner blends serenity and color. Locals gather for sunrise yoga on the promenade while fishermen pull in nets nearby. A scene that feels timeless and tranquil. Dramatic cliffs, lush pastures, and a silence broken only by waves. Welcome to São Jorge, one of the most spellbinding islands in the Azores archipelago. Shaped like a long, narrow knife, this remote slice of Portugal in the Atlantic is a haven for hikers, surfers, and lovers of solitude. São Jorge is known for its fahans, fertile lava fields at the base of steep cliffs, created by ancient landslides and now home to tiny, hard-to-reach villages. Fajan da Caldeira de Santo Cristo is especially famous for its clams, found nowhere else in the archipelago. The island's rich volcanic soil supports dairy farming, and the result is the legendary Queijo São Jorge, a tangy aged cheese with protected designation of origin, PDO status, beloved across Portugal. With fewer tourists than its Azorean neighbors, São Jorge feels like a well-kept secret. Hiking along the Serra do Topo Ridge reveals jaw-dropping views of both the sea and the cliffs plunging into it, offering a raw, cinematic experience of nature. What if you could walk through a city made of sand, frozen in time for centuries? Ait Ben Haddou, Morocco, is a striking example of earthen clay architecture, a fortified village that rises like a mirage from the edge of the Sahara. Located along the ancient caravan route between the Sahara and Marrakech, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is a maze of red brick kasbahs, winding alleys and crumbling towers. Built entirely from mud brick, the village blends seamlessly into the ochre hills around it. Ait Ben Haddou has served as the backdrop for countless films, from Gladiator to Game of Thrones. But its true magic lies in its silence. Step inside and you'll hear the wind echo through centuries of stories. Still home to a few Berber families, it remains a living museum, a testament to Morocco's layered past, from Almoravid empires to Hollywood myths. Visiting here is like walking into a painting baked by the sun and shaped by time. You've heard of the Alps, but Slovakia's Tatras? They're Europe's best-kept alpine secret. Located on the border with Poland, the Tatra Mountains rise dramatically from the plains, snow-capped and wild. Szczerbskie Plateau, a glacial lake encircled by trails and pine forests, is the perfect starting point. Its mirror-like surface reflects the surrounding peaks, a dream for hikers and photographers alike. The Lomnicki Szczyt cable car takes you 2,734 meters above sea level in minutes. At the top, you're met with panoramic views that rival anything in the Alps. With bears roaming the slopes and wolves howling at night, the Tatras are both raw and romantic, a place where folklore meets real adventure. Do you believe a mountain can be sacred to 4 religions at once? Mount Kailash, Tibet, rises from the barren plateau as a perfect pyramid. Located in remote western Tibet, it's not just a natural wonder, it's a spiritual symbol revered by Hindus, Buddhists, Jains, and Bon. Pilgrims and travelers alike walk the 52-kilometer of Kora, a ritual circumambulation of the peak. The trail crosses the 5,630-meter Doma La Pass and offers intense high-altitude beauty. Nearby, Lake Manasarvar is considered one of the world's holiest lakes. Its mirror-like surface reflects the snow caps and spiritual serenity of the region. No one has ever climbed Mount Kailash, not due to difficulty, but out of respect. Local belief holds that disturbing the summit brings bad karma. It remains untouched and sacred. What if a medieval fortress rose from a maze of blood-red rocks shaped like ancient gods and sleeping giants? It's not fantasy, it's Belogradchik, Bulgaria. Tucked against the Balkan Mountains in Bulgaria's northwest, this mystical town is home to one of the country's most surreal landscapes. The Belogradchik Rocks, a labyrinth of towering sandstone and conglomerate formations, stretch across 30 kilometers, shaped by centuries of wind and water into bizarre, often human-like forms. The crown jewel is the Belogradchik Fortress, partially built into the rock formations themselves. With origins dating back to Roman times and expansions during the Ottoman era, the fortress offers panoramic views over alien terrain and whispering pine forests. This region has long sparked legends. Locals tell tales of monks turned to stone, rock guardians of treasure, and an exiled princess whose sorrow shaped the valley. The town itself is quiet, authentic, and deeply rooted in Bulgarian tradition. Belogradchik is more than just a destination. It's a collision of geology, myth, and forgotten history, standing still under a sky that seems to honor its silence. What if you wandered into a city where every wall glowed white under the mountain sun? Sucre, Bolivia's constitutional capital, is a high-altitude haven where colonial elegance meets youthful energy. Located in the Andes, it blends cool breezes, gentle hills, and Baroque architecture like a historical postcard. In the heart of Sucre lies the Casa de la Libertad, the cradle of Bolivian independence. Here, the nation's declaration was signed in 1825. The building, with its arcaded courtyard and preserved chambers, holds echoes of revolutionary ideals and the voices of freedom. Sucre is often called the White City for its gleaming facades. Its mild climate, local chocolates, and weekend dances in Plaza 25 de Mayo offer a charming, almost cinematic experience. It's where revolution meets romance and history strolls beneath jacaranda trees. Ever wondered what it feels like to live on the edge of the Arctic, but still be surrounded by color and warmth? Akureyri, Iceland, defies the stark expectations of the far north. Nestled at the end of the Eyjafjörður Fjord, this small city glows with vibrant houses, botanical gardens, and a cozy cultural life, all under the looming gaze of snow-dusted peaks. Despite its latitude just 100 kilometers from the Arctic Circle, Akureyri enjoys a relatively mild climate thanks to ocean currents. It's the heart of North Iceland, with easy access to wonders like Godafoss, the waterfall of the gods, Lake Mývatn's otherworldly geothermal fields, and whale watching in Husavik. Downtown pulses with charm, cafes, art galleries, and even a microbrewery. The iconic red church, Akureyrar Kirkja, overlooks it all. In winter, the northern lights often swirl overhead. In summer, the midnight sun paints the horizon in gold. Akureyri proves that life flourishes even in the coldest corners. Not just surviving, but singing, sipping espresso, and skiing down mountain slopes with joy. Have you ever believed a mountain could whisper prayers? Koyasan, Japan, makes you feel exactly that. Tucked deep in the forested peaks of the Kii Peninsula on Honshu, this sacred town is the heart of Shingon Buddhism. Covered in mist and silence, the area transports visitors far beyond the ordinary, making every breath feel like a step into the spiritual. The most soul-stirring sight here is Okinoin, Japan's largest cemetery, where over 200,000 tombstones line mossy paths leading to the mausoleum of Kobo Daishi. Lanterns flicker gently, even in daylight, casting an eternal glow over centuries of devotion. The Danjogaran Temple Complex is another key draw, home to vivid pagodas, ancient halls, and the dramatic vermilion Kanpon Daido, a symbol of cosmic balance. This is where pilgrims and monks meditate in deep reverence, often barefoot on sacred ground. Founded in 816, Koyasan is more than a religious site. It's a living spiritual community. You can stay in a temple lodging, shukubo, wake to monks' chants, and eat traditional vegetarian cuisine, shojin ryori. Few places on earth offer such a complete immersion into peace and reflection. Have you ever walked through a dream painted in every shade of blue? Chefchaouen, Morocco. Tucked in the Rif Mountains of northern Africa, this small town seems untouched by time. The entire Medina is painted in hypnotic shades of indigo and cobalt, earning it the nickname, the Blue Pearl of Morocco. Beyond its palette, Chefchaouen offers a sensory journey through narrow alleys lined with arched doorways, flower pots, and hand-woven textiles. The town's Kasbah, an ochre fortress from the 15th century, sits at the heart of the Medina, while the surrounding hills offer hiking trails with panoramic views and waterfalls like Ras El Ma. Founded by Moorish and Jewish exiles in the 1400s, the town still reflects Andalusian architecture and Islamic tradition. Its blue walls are steeped in mystery. Some say they symbolize the sky and heaven, others claim it keeps mosquitoes away. No matter the reason, the result is spellbinding. Chefchaouen isn't about sights to tick off, it's about slowing down. Listening to the call to prayer echo through the mountains, sipping mint tea as cats weave through sunlit courtyards. It's not just a place to visit, it's a mood, a breath, a brushstroke come to life. What if you could witness blue fire dancing from the earth under a starry sky? Kawah Ijen, Indonesia, is one of the rare places on Earth where you can see natural electric blue flames ignite the darkness. A phenomenon caused by ignited sulfuric gases. Nestled in East Java, this active volcano cradles the largest acidic crater lake on the planet, glowing a surreal turquoise hue by day and emitting a haunting radiance at night. The trek begins before dawn. As you ascend, the cold mountain air is thick with sulfur, and your path is lit by headlamps and moonlight. Reaching the summit feels like arriving on another planet. By sunrise, the lake emerges through mist, its toxic waters calm but hypnotic. The site has deep local importance. Sulfur miners risk their lives daily here, chiseling chunks of bright yellow rock, carrying them in handmade baskets. It's a place of both natural wonder and human perseverance. Few destinations combine raw beauty with such visceral experience. Kawah Ijen isn't just seen, it's felt in your breath, your bones, your memory. What if an entire city looked like a spilled palette of watercolor? Pinks, blues, and yellows tumbling down a canyon. Guanajuato, Mexico, is a colonial gem in the country's heartland, built into hillsides with tunnels weaving beneath and alleys winding above. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, it enchants with its maze-like structure and bohemian soul. Teatro Juarez, an architectural marvel, stands as a beacon of Guanajuato's artistic identity. With its neoclassical columns and Moorish interior, it hosts international festivals like Cervantino, turning the town into Mexico's cultural capital each autumn. The Callejón del Beso, Alley of the Kiss, is a tiny passageway so narrow that lovers can kiss across balconies. It's wrapped in romantic legend and a must-visit for couples who want their love blessed by tradition. Founded on silver, Guanajuato still bears traces of mining heritage with underground roads and the eerie Museo de las Momias. Its hills offer sweeping views, while mariachi music and student troubadours fill the cobblestone streets with timeless charm. On Morocco's wild Atlantic coast where desert winds meet ocean spray, lies Essaouira, a walled city of white and blue beauty, salty air, and endless rhythm. Known as the Wind City of Africa, Essaouira is where surfers, artists, and dreamers come to exhale. Essaouira's Medina is smaller and calmer than Marrakesh's, but just as rich in color and scent. Wander through alleys filled with spices, textiles, and Gnawa music, and then follow the seagulls to the port, where blue boats bob like toys and fishermen sell their catch straight from the net. This 18th century sea bastion offers panoramic views of the Atlantic and crashing waves below. Cannons still stand at attention, pointing out to sea, a reminder that Essaouira was once a Portuguese fortress, then a trading hub, and now a guardian of culture and wind. Essaouira is more feeling than place. It's the sound of waves against stone, the taste of grilled sardines on the docks, the scent of cedar wood in the souks. Jimi Hendrix came here, so did Orson Welles. Maybe it's the light, maybe it's the wind, but whatever it is, Essaouira gets into your skin and stays there. Can a city feel like a whisper from ancient times wrapped in vine leaves? Kutaisi in western Georgia is one of Europe's oldest settlements. Nestled near the Rioni River and surrounded by rolling hills, it's where mythology, Soviet relics, and wine-soaked nights collide. Less polished than Tbilisi, but raw in its authenticity. Bagrati Cathedral rises on Ucumarioni Hill, a UNESCO-listed symbol of Georgia's medieval spirit. Though partially ruined, its arches and green roof glow with quiet strength. The view from the top is pure poetry: river, rooftops, and Caucasus sky. Just outside Kutaisi, Sataplia Cave hides a prehistoric wonderland. Stalactites drip like frozen thunder, and dinosaur footprints line ancient stone. The forest above holds a glass walkway with sweeping views, where Earth's past feels touchable and alive. Imagine a town carved from stone, where Ottoman rooftops glisten under Balkan sun. This is Gjirokastër. Tucked into the mountains of southern Albania, Gjirokastër is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that feels like a living museum. Cobbled alleys twist past slate-roofed homes, and everything, from walls to streets, seems sculpted from stone. Known as the City of Stone, Gjirokastër is a masterpiece of Ottoman architecture. The massive hilltop fortress, one of the Balkans' largest, dominates the skyline and offers sweeping views over the Drino Valley. Inside, cannons and Cold War-era artifacts evoke layers of turbulent history. Birthplace of Albania's most famous novelist, Ismail Kadare, the town breathes literature, mystery, and revolution. Local artisans still weave rugs and silver by hand, and traditional guest houses serve mountain herbs and slow-cooked lamb beneath vine-covered terraces. This is a place where time walks slowly, where every step clicks on stone, and history greets you from every carved doorway. What if a garden could become a city, and a city and a vision of the future? Singapore is that dream made real. This city-state in Southeast Asia rises from the tip of the Malay Peninsula like a sci-fi oasis, where cutting-edge architecture meets tropical serenity. Here, nature isn't just preserved, it's reimagined. The Marina Bay Sands skyline with its ship-like rooftop defines modern ambition. Yet just a walk away, the super tree grove of Gardens by the Bay glows with bioluminescent brilliance. Explore the vivid streets of Little India or wander into the peaceful courtyards of Chinatown. Once a modest trading port, Singapore is now a cultural melting pot shaped by Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Western influences. The city is a master of clean order. Chewing gum is famously banned. But also home to world-renowned street food, like the Michelin-starred chicken rice. A global financial hub and a green miracle, Singapore is the city where future and foliage intertwine. How can something so unknown feel like Europe's last great secret? Komen Lake, Albania, is a turquoise ribbon twisting through steep mountain gorges in the country's north. Formed by a hydroelectric dam, it now resembles a Nordic fjord, with jagged cliffs rising vertically from the water. The ferry from Komen to Fiersa isn't just transportation. It's one of Europe's most breathtaking boat journeys. As you drift through mist and stone, time vanishes into the emerald depths. Branching off is the Shala River, often called the Thai Maldives, its shallow, fluorescent blue waters lapping against white stone beaches beneath towering cliffs. Despite its cinematic beauty, Komen remains off the radar, visited mostly by locals and adventurers. It's one of the last places in Europe where wild nature dominates completely. What if your hotel floated gently on a shimmering lake, surrounded by woven reeds and snow-draped peaks? Puno, Peru, is your gateway to Lake Titicaca, the world's highest navigable lake. Situated in the Peruvian Andes, this high-altitude city blends ancient Inca roots with vibrant indigenous culture. One of its most fascinating features? The Uros floating islands, hand-woven from totora reeds. These artificial islets have housed communities for centuries. Walking on them feels like stepping onto a sponge. The homes, boats, even lookout towers are built entirely from reeds. At the city's core lies Plaza de Armas, where colonial cathedrals rise beside bustling markets. In the evening, it comes alive with music, dancing, and street food that warms the chilly Andean air. Puno hosts the dazzling Festival of the Virgin of Candelaria, a UNESCO-recognized event filled with ornate costumes, trumpets, and non-stop parades. It's color, rhythm, and devotion packed into 10 unforgettable days. What if adventure, culture, and serenity all met at the base of snow-draped peaks, where minarets rise beside Russian cottages and alpine lakes shimmer like glass? Karakol, Kyrgyzstan. Nestled on the eastern edge of Issyk-Kul Lake and at the foot of the Tersky-Alatau Mountains, Karakol is a gateway to some of Central Asia's most breathtaking landscapes. Trekkers come for the legendary Ala-Kul Lake, a turquoise gem perched high among glaciers, and the rugged trails of Jurgalan Valley. But Karakol is more than just adventure. Its streets tell a story of diverse heritage. Chinese-style Dungan mosques, Russian Orthodox cathedrals, and colonial-era wooden homes coexist in quiet harmony. Founded by Tsarist explorers, enriched by Dungan refugees, and embraced by nomadic Kyrgyz traditions, the town pulses with cultural complexity. Don't miss a visit to the Sunday livestock market, where barter and banter fill the morning air. Karakol is where stories of the Silk Road echo across snowy peaks, authentic, soulful, and made for the wanderer at heart. What if a single town could hold the soul of a vanished dynasty, the echo of ancient trade routes, and the rhythm of water running through stone alleys? Lijiang, China. Set at the foot of the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain in Yunnan Province, Lijiang is a UNESCO-listed old town where cobblestone streets wind between wooden homes, canals glisten under lanterns, and music drifts from Naxi flutes. Lijiang was once a key hub on the ancient Tea Horse Road, a Silk Road equivalent that traded Tibetan tea for Chinese goods. The town's Naxi heritage still defines it today. Women in traditional blue garments walk the same streets as their ancestors. And the Dongba script, one of the world's last pictographic languages, decorates temples and scrolls. At night, the old town glows. Red lanterns sway above bridges, and sounds of traditional music echo in tea houses. Just outside, the dramatic Tiger Leaping Gorge and Lugu Lake offer escapes into mythic nature. Lijiang isn't a museum, it's a living time capsule, where culture and beauty are not preserved, but alive. Can you walk through a fairy tale made of stone? In Prague, every cobblestone has a legend to tell. Prague, perched on the Vltava River, is Central Europe's storybook capital, a place where Gothic spires and Baroque facades create a skyline like no other. Known as the City of 100 Spires, it feels suspended between myth and memory. Start at the majestic Prague Castle, then cross the Charles Bridge, flanked by silent saints and serenaded by street musicians. The Old Town Square's astronomical clock still chimes with medieval flair, drawing crowds that gaze upward in awe. Climb to Petchin Hill for a panoramic view that melts into red roofs and cathedral peaks. The city's Jewish quarter adds depth with centuries of preserved history and sacred sites. Did you know? Franz Kafka wandered these very streets. Prague holds its magic quietly, letting you discover it layer by ancient layer. What if you could float silently through a flooded desert, where lions nap beneath palm trees and elephants wade through lilies? The Okavango Delta, Botswana, is a rare hydrological miracle, a river that flows inland, not to the sea, but into the sands of the Kalahari. This UNESCO World Heritage Site in southern Africa is one of the planet's richest and most unique ecosystems. Aboard a Mokoro, dugout canoe, travelers glide through papyrus channels past hippos, crocodiles, and rare birds like the Pell's fishing owl. During the annual flood, the desert blooms into a watery Eden, attracting zebras, lions, and hundreds of elephant herds. The Delta has been home to the Baye and Hambakushu peoples for centuries, who navigate its maze of islands with ancestral knowledge and quiet reverence. Unlike the crowded savannas of East Africa, the Okavango offers intimacy, safaris on foot or water, where silence enhances every sighting. It's a place where nature breathes fully and the wild reigns in its most poetic form. What mountain is so perfectly shaped it looks drawn by a compass? Mount Taranaki, New Zealand, is a dormant stratovolcano rising dramatically above the west coast of the North Island. With its flawless cone and frequent crown of clouds, it's often compared to Mount Fuji, and for good reason. But Taranaki is quieter, wilder, and steeped in Maori legend. Surrounded by lush rainforests and alpine meadows within Egmont National Park, this peak is sacred to local iwi tribes, considered a living ancestor. The trails range from tranquil walks through mossy goblin forests to the demanding summit route with panoramic views stretching to the coast. Mount Taranaki is also a cinematic star, having stood in for Japan in several films. But its true magic is in its silence, the feeling of standing alone on a volcanic relic, the sea behind you, the sky vast and endless above. This isn't just a mountain, it's a perfect natural sculpture carved by time and myth, and Colonia del Sacramento is Uruguay's gentle whisper, a quiet town of cobblestone streets and colonial facades, facing Buenos Aires across the Rio de la Plata. A former Portuguese outpost surrounded by Spanish ambitions, it's a city born of rivalry and romance, now frozen in time. This UNESCO-listed historic quarter is pure charm. Uneven stones underfoot, gas lamps overhead, and 17th century cottages wrapped in bougainvillea. Wander through the Calle de los Suspiros, Street of Sighs, and you'll feel the centuries close in, with stories of smugglers, soldiers, and star-crossed lovers in the air. Climb the lighthouse for sweeping views of tiled roofs and river light. Below, the main square hums with lazy cafes, vintage cars, and a timeless rhythm. It's less about sights and more about silence, about soaking in a mood that feels part Iberian, part Rio de la Plata magic. Colonia doesn't clamor for attention. It draws you in slowly, with a glass of Tannet wine, the scent of grilled provoleta, and the sound of tango drifting across the river. In a world rushing forward, Colonia walks backward, and somehow that feels like progress. What if you could walk through a town where every house looks like a canvas painted by a dreamer? Guatapé, Colombia, is a visual explosion nestled in the Andes of Antioquia, just 2 hours from Medellin. Its kaleidoscopic houses, cobblestone streets, and eternal spring weather create a surreal backdrop for every step. Tucked near a man-made reservoir, Guatapé is where art meets water and tranquility meets color. Climb the 740 steps of El Peñón de Guatapé, a towering monolith piercing the sky. From the summit, a jaw-dropping panorama unfolds. Hundreds of emerald islands scattered across a sapphire reservoir. It's one of the most iconic views in South America, and it's worth every breathless step. Stroll through the town's vibrant streets, where every building boasts zócalos, artistic panels that tell stories of heritage, dreams, and local life. No two are the same, turning each corner into a gallery of Colombian folklore. Guatapé was once a quiet village, but its burst of color and the surreal beauty of the reservoir transformed it into a haven for artists and wanderers. Boat rides, jet skis, and lakeside cafes offer slow, picturesque days. Fun fact, the giant rock was once considered sacred by the indigenous Tajamí people, long before it became a selfie hotspot. What if the land itself told stories of clans, battles, and ancient legends whispered by the wind? The Scottish Highlands. Scotland is one of the most hauntingly beautiful and historically rich regions on Earth. Stretching across northern Scotland, the Highlands are a rugged expanse of misty mountains, glacial lochs, and emerald moors. This dramatic landscape is home to Ben Nevis, the UK's highest peak, and the fabled Loch Ness, where tales of a mysterious creature still ripple through the waters. Driving through Glen Cove feels like traversing a cinematic dream. Moody skies, soaring cliffs, and valleys steeped in tragedy and poetry. Culturally, the Highlands are the heartland of Scottish identity. Gaelic is still spoken in some villages, and Highland games, with caber tossing and bagpipes, celebrate traditions passed down for centuries. Whether you're hiking the West Highland Way or visiting castles like Eilean Donan, the region's raw beauty and mythical aura will leave you spellbound. Come for the scenery, stay for the soul. Can a city feel like a museum, a garden, and a cafe all at once? Amsterdam, Netherlands, is a city of contrasts, vibrant yet peaceful, modern yet historical. Its UNESCO-listed canals curve through charming neighborhoods of gabled houses, cyclists glide past tulip stalls, and every street seems dipped in soft golden light. The city's core is a treasure chest of art and architecture. The Rijksmuseum houses Rembrandt's masterpieces, while the Anne Frank House offers solemn reflection. Beyond the museums, street markets buzz with color, from vintage books to fresh stroopwafels. Take a boat ride at sunset and watch as the city's bridges light up like lanterns. Amsterdam has a rich history as a trading powerhouse and cultural melting pot. Today it thrives as a progressive hub of creativity and innovation. Locals sip espresso beside canals, read by open windows, and pedal through life with casual elegance. Amsterdam doesn't rush you. It invites you to linger, to wander, to feel at home. Where do legends live? Perhaps in a place where caves breathe cold air, forests hide ancient secrets, and light filters through fog like a forgotten fairy tale. Apuseni Mountains, Romania. Nestled in western Transylvania, this mountain range is Romania's hidden soul. A land of rolling limestone peaks, subterranean worlds, and scattered wooden hamlets that seem untouched by time. The Apuseni are famous for their otherworldly caves, including Scarashora, home to one of the world's largest underground glaciers, and the karst labyrinths of Pistera Wind Cave. Above ground, moss-covered forests and green meadows give the landscape an enchanted, almost Celtic feel. The region has been inhabited for millennia by Dacians, Romans, and today's fiercely traditional mountain communities. Wooden houses, haystacks, and hand-carved gates dot the countryside, where folk tales are still told by firelight. Time flows differently here. Hikers, spelunkers, and quiet seekers find solace in its untamed beauty. And perhaps, just perhaps, hear whispers from another age. What if you could glide down a jungle river at sunrise and lock eyes with an orangutan in the canopy? Borneo, shared by Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei, holds one of the oldest rainforests on Earth, 130 million years of wild, living history. The Malaysian state of Sabah is a gateway to this verdant world, where life bursts in every direction. In Danam Valley and Kinabatangan River, hornbills flap overhead, pygmy elephants move through the shadows, and proboscis monkeys leap between trees. Borneo is one of the last places to see wild orangutans, intelligent, gentle, and deeply endangered. Mount Kinabalu, Southeast Asia's highest peak, draws trekkers from around the world. And did you know? Borneo's caves, like Deer Cave in Mulu, are so vast they can house jumbo jets. It's a place of extremes, dense, mysterious, and humbling. Here, every rustle in the leaves could be the start of an unforgettable encounter. Ever imagine standing on the edge of the earth, surrounded by fire-breathing volcanoes, steaming geysers, and untouched wilderness where bears outnumber people? Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia. Jutting into the Pacific Ocean in Russia's far east, Kamchatka is one of the most remote, wild, and geologically active regions on the planet. Home to more than 160 volcanoes, 29 of them active, this land is in constant transformation. The Valley of Geysers is a spectacle of steaming vents, bubbling mud pools, and thermal springs, rivaling Yellowstone in scale, but not in crowds. Towering over the land, Kranotsky and Kluchevskaya Sopka rise like fire giants, snow-capped and smoking. The peninsula is also a haven for wildlife. Brown bears, stellar sea eagles, and massive salmon runs paint the ecosystem with life. For the indigenous Koryaks and Itelmens, this land is sacred, a place of spirits, reindeer, and ancestral lore. Reaching Kamchatka is no easy feat, but the reward is a raw, apocalyptic beauty untouched by civilization. Kamchatka is Earth untamed, a reminder of nature's primal power and haunting grandeur. How can a capital feel like a frontier town wrapped in sky? Windhoek, Namibia's highland heart, sits at over 1,600 meters above sea level, where desert meets savanna. Its streets echo with German colonial facades, while mountains guard the horizon. It's peaceful, organized, yet always just a breath from the wild. Christus Kirche rises like a fairy tale in stone. Built in 1910, this German Lutheran church mixes Art Nouveau with local sandstone and anchors the city center with elegance. It's Windhoek's most iconic landmark, both quaint and surreal. In Katutura Township, the market pulses with soul. Smoke from braais fills the air as vendors sell marula oil, dried fish, and handmade jewelry. It's more than commerce. It's community, resilience, and the rhythm of modern Namibia. What if Venice had a secret little cousin who traded in the crowds for charm, the canals for cobbled alleys, and still kept all the Adriatic magic? Welcome to Piran, Slovenia's coastal jewel, a medieval town perched on a narrow peninsula jutting into the sea. With its terracotta roofs, Venetian architecture, and the salty breeze of the Adriatic, Piran feels like a sun-drenched time capsule where the Mediterranean meets Central Europe. At the heart of Piran lies Tartini Square, named after the town's most famous son, violinist Giuseppe Tartini. The square, once a harbor, is now a white stone plaza framed by elegant buildings and crowned by a statue of Tartini himself. From here, narrow lanes spiral outward toward the sea and up the hill to the church. Climb to the top of the hill and you'll find St. George's Church, watching protectively over Piran like a lighthouse of faith. Its bell tower, inspired by St. Mark's in Venice, offers panoramic views of red roofs, green hills, and endless blue, a photographer's dream and a soul's resting place. Piran is a town best explored slowly, by foot, by taste, by sunset. Local seafood, crystal clear waters, and streets that seem to whisper stories of merchants and mariners make it a true Adriatic gem. Fun fact, cars are banned in much of the old town, so the quiet is broken only by the sounds of footsteps, waves, and laughter drifting from hidden cafes. Think Bali is paradise? Wait until you take a boat across the waves and land on Nusa Penida, where the island dreams of Instagram come to life. Nusa Penida, Indonesia, is a rugged, enchanting island just off the southeast coast of Bali. Less developed and more raw than its famous neighbor, it offers dramatic cliffs, crystal clear lagoons, and secret beaches that look like they were carved by the gods themselves. The island's iconic spot, Kelingking Beach, is famous for its T-Rex-shaped cliff and turquoise water crashing against pure white sands. Nearby, Angel's Billabong and Broken Beach are natural oceanic pools set into volcanic rock, offering an unreal mix of serenity and power. Despite its rising popularity, Nusa Penida still maintains a slower pace. Hindu temples dot the island, like the cave-shrouded Goa Giri Putri, and locals live in harmony with the rhythm of sea and soil. Marine life thrives here too. Manta rays and vibrant coral reefs await divers and snorkelers. It's not the easiest place to reach, but maybe that's what keeps its magic intact. What if a single bridge could hold centuries of division, war, love, and rebirth? Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina is that bridge, and that city. Cradled in the green valleys of the Balkans, Mostar is where East and West embrace awkwardly, passionately, and unmistakably. Minarets and church bells share the skyline, while Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, and Yugoslav legacies intertwine. Stari Most, Old Bridge, is the symbol of Mostar, and arguably of all Bosnia. Originally built in the 16th century by the Ottomans, it was destroyed during the 1990s war and meticulously rebuilt stone by stone. Today, locals leap from its heights into the cold Neretva River below, a centuries-old tradition reborn as a daring spectacle. Wander the cobbled Kujunzaluk Street and step into the Ottoman era. Coppersmiths hammer out handmade jewelry as the scent of strong Bosnian coffee fills the air. The bazaar is filled with rugs, ceramics, and vintage war memorabilia, a surreal blend of beauty and scars. Mostar is a city of contrast, where post-war resilience meets poetic decay, and where the Blue River always flows, stubborn, clear, and quietly healing. Off Scotland's rugged west coast lies the Isle of Coll, a quiet, windswept island where nature reigns and silence sings. With no streetlights and barely 200 residents, Coll is one of the UK's first dark sky islands, a sanctuary for stargazers and solitude seekers. A pristine, white sand beach framed by dunes and wildflowers. You might not see another soul for hours, but you'll hear seabirds, wind, and the calming hush of the Atlantic. On clear nights, the Milky Way stretches like a celestial river overhead. With zero light pollution, it's one of the best places in Europe to see the stars, and maybe even the northern lights. Bike along single-lane roads, explore Iron Age ruins, or simply sit and watch seals play in the surf. On Coll, time slows down, and in that slowness, something deep and beautiful returns. Imagine a land where cliffs drop thousands of feet into green abysses and rare monkeys leap between clouds. That place is real, and it's the Simien Mountains. The Simien Mountains, Ethiopia, rise from the northern highlands of East Africa like a fortress of nature. This dramatic range is carved with jagged peaks, deep valleys, and towering plateaus that earned it a UNESCO World Heritage status for its unmatched geological beauty and biodiversity. Trekkers from around the world come to witness Ras Dashen, the highest peak in Ethiopia, and to meet the park's endemic residents, the shaggy-coated Gelada baboons, Ethiopian wolves, and Walia ibex. These species can't be found anywhere else on Earth. The landscape, often compared to the Grand Canyon, offers sweeping panoramas and moments of pure isolation in a world seemingly untouched by time. Fascinating fact, the Simien Range is over 20 million years old, sculpted by ancient volcanic activity. It's not just a hike, it's a journey into Earth's raw, primal soul. What if a city could be wrapped in fog and framed by a crimson bridge? Would you believe such a place exists? Welcome to San Francisco, USA. Nestled along the rugged Pacific coastline of Northern California, this iconic city combines natural drama with architectural wonder. The steep hills offer panoramic views over the bay, while the legendary Golden Gate Bridge pierces through mist like a gateway to another world. Explore the vibrant neighborhoods, the Bohemian Mission District, historic Chinatown, and the Victorian line streets of Haight-Ashbury. Alcatraz Island looms offshore, once a prison and now a haunting monument to the past. San Francisco's cultural layers are deep, from gold rush beginnings to counterculture revolutions and tech-fueled transformation. Curiously, the city's famously foggy weather has a name, Carl. Locals even give it its own social media presence. With its historic cable cars, buzzing piers, and art-filled alleys, San Francisco isn't just a destination. It's an ever-evolving storybook carved into cliffs. Ever imagined standing at a cliff, staring into the deepest lake on Earth, with legends whispering in the wind? Olkhon Island, Russia, lies like a sleeping beast in the heart of Lake Baikal, Siberia's majestic jewel. The island is long and bone-shaped, with arid steppes, pine forests, and dramatic rock formations overlooking endless blue. At its core stands Shaman Rock, one of Asia's 9 sacred sites in shamanistic tradition. Rising sharply from the lake, it's a place of pilgrimage, mythology, and silence. Locals believe spirits dwell in its crevices. Visitors often leave ribbons tied to poles, echoing ancient Buryat rituals. On the northern tip lies Cowboy Cape, a wind-battered cliff offering panoramic views where lake meets sky. The air here feels thinner, purer, charged with something ancient. It's a perfect place for meditation, photography, or simple awe. Despite its remote setting, Olkhon boasts sandy beaches, emerald bays, and even a small desert. Winter travelers witness the lake freeze into surreal glass, so clear you can see meters below. Have you ever tasted a city? In Porto, every stone is soaked in wine, every alley whispers of the sea, and every view feels like a painting. Porto, Portugal sits along the northern banks of the Douro River, where colorful houses stack above wine cellars and Baroque churches glint in the Atlantic sun. It's the kind of place where time drips slowly, like the fortified port wine that made the city famous. Porto's historic Ribeira district is a UNESCO site, a tangle of narrow streets, laundry-strung balconies, and azulejo-covered buildings. The Dom Luis de Firm Bridge, designed by a student of Eiffel, offers panoramic views and connects to Gaia, where legendary wine lodges host tastings in century-old tunnels. Beyond its beauty, Porto has a soul. The city birthed Portugal's national anthem and has long been a hub of resistance, art, and innovation. Here, locals still gather at cafes to debate politics over sweet custard tarts. Porto isn't just romantic. It's revolutionary, fermented in history and poured into the present. What if the trail ahead was nothing but silence, sky, and ice? The Arctic Circle Trail, stretching over 160 kilometers from Kangerlussuaq to Sisimiut in Greenland, is one of Earth's last great wilderness hikes. No roads, no towns, just tundra, lakes, and the northern wind. The trail begins near Kangerlussuaq, where musk oxen roam the mossy plains and ice sheets shimmer on the horizon. This former U.S. military outpost now launches one of the most remote hikes on the planet. The journey ends in Sisimiut, Greenland's second-largest town. Colorful houses clinging to rocky hills and Inuit culture pulsing through daily life. It's a sharp return to civilization after days alone with the wild. Along the trail, you camp under endless twilight and drink from glacial streams. There are no crowds, no cell towers, just you and the pulse of the Arctic. Can a river really be this blue? The Socha looks like it flows from a dream. Socha Valley, Slovenia, cuts through the Julian Alps with a turquoise ribbon of pure alpine water. The Socha River, famed for its surreal color, is considered one of the most beautiful rivers in Europe, and perhaps the world. This valley is a paradise for adventure seekers. Whitewater rafting, kayaking, canyoning, and hiking are all part of daily life here. The surrounding peaks of Triglav National Park add cinematic drama to every scene. Trails like the Alpe Adria and Socha Trail weave through meadows, waterfalls, and hanging bridges. History whispers through the landscape too. The valley was a fierce WWI frontline. The Kabarad Museum, awarded for its depth, captures the brutal beauty of the Isonzo front, immortalized by Hemingway in A Farewell to Arms. Slovenians hold this place dear, a pocket of wildness that embodies national pride. Socha Valley isn't just a photo op, it's a multi-sensory immersion into purity, courage, and the elemental power of water. What if you found an alpine wonderland just a few hours from the sea? Welcome to Picos de Europa, Spain, a hidden sanctuary of peaks, pastures, and ancient trails. Picos de Europa, Spain is a mountain range in northern Spain that stretches across Asturias, Cantabria, and Castile and Leon. Though less known than the Pyrenees, it delivers just as much drama, with towering limestone peaks, deep gorges, and emerald green valleys. This rugged landscape is home to some of the most picturesque hikes in Europe, including the famous Kers Trail that clings to cliff sides above the Kers River. Glacial lakes like Lagos de Covadonga reflect the surrounding peaks, while charming stone villages like Potes offer a hearty welcome after a day on the trails. Culturally, this is the cradle of early Christian Spain, with the sanctuary of Covadonga marking the site of a pivotal historical battle. Local traditions remain strong, from cider pouring to cheese making. The combination of dramatic nature and rich heritage makes it a true gem for those who venture off the beaten path. What if stepping into a village felt like entering a living museum? Maramureș in northern Romania is a portal to the past, where traditions still guide daily life. This mountainous region, tucked near the Ukrainian border, boasts rolling hills dotted with wooden churches and haystack-strewn meadows. The region is famed for its 8 UNESCO-listed wooden churches, masterpieces of craftsmanship with towering spires and intricate carvings dating back to the 17th century. One of the most curious landmarks is the Mary Cemetery in Sapanca, where tombstones feature brightly painted life stories and poetic epitaphs, often with a humorous twist. Locals still weave, carve, and celebrate seasonal festivals in folk costume. A visit here feels like being adopted into a world that time forgot. What if a whole city were split by a gorge, yet held together by centuries of breathtaking architecture? Ronda, Spain, is exactly that. A town suspended between earth and sky. Ronda, Spain is perched atop the dramatic El Tajo Gorge in the Andalusian hills of southern Spain. The city is literally divided in two by the canyon, with the historic and modern quarters connected by the legendary Puente Nuevo, an 18th century stone bridge that seems to defy gravity. The Old Town, known as La Ciudad, is a maze of cobbled streets, Moorish courtyards, and whitewashed houses. Ronda is also home to Spain's oldest bullring, Plaza de Toros, which inspired Ernest Hemingway and Orson Welles. The surrounding landscape of olive groves, vineyards, and rolling hills adds a rustic charm to this elevated retreat. Its Moorish roots run deep, visible in the arabesque arches and hammams. Yet it's also a place of innovation and resilience, where history and modern life coexist atop dramatic cliffs. At sunset, the gorge glows in hues of amber and crimson, making every view postcard perfect. How would it feel to visit a town where thermal springs bubble under colonial streets and brightly painted rickshaws outnumber cars? Antsirab, Madagascar feels like a lost chapter from a traveler's diary. Sitting high in the country's central highlands, it offers a cooler climate and a quirky Franco-Malagasy charm, with volcanic lakes hidden just beyond city edges. The volcanic Lac Tritriba is more than just a deep, sapphire crater lake. Locals whisper that its water levels rise when it hasn't rained and fall during storms. Surrounded by red cliffs and eucalyptus trees, it's a place of eerie beauty and tragic legend, where a forbidden lover's tale echoes in the breeze. Antsirab's name literally means where there is much salt. The town is known for its therapeutic thermal springs, which the French transformed into spa resorts during colonial times. Bathhouses still welcome visitors today, offering traditional hydrotherapy for everything from arthritis to fatigue. Antsirab is also Madagascar's capital of Pousse-Pousse. Vividly painted rickshaws pedaled with pride. Each one is a moving canvas adorned with slogans, celebrities, and dreams on wheels. What if a city rose from the desert like a futuristic mirage? Dubai, UAE, defies logic and gravity. Located on the shimmering Persian Gulf, this megacity is a masterclass in ambition, where tradition and ultra-modern design walk side by side through golden dunes and marble malls. The Burj Khalifa pierces the sky at over 828 meters, offering dizzying views of a skyline that didn't exist a few decades ago. Man-made islands shaped like palms and continents redefine the coastline, while the Dubai Mall is a labyrinth of luxury and indoor waterfalls. Yet just outside the city, endless sand dunes whisper stories of Bedouin heritage. Dubai blends old souks filled with spices and gold with flying taxis and robot police. It's a place where Friday prayers echo near Formula One tracks and where Falcons and Ferraris share the same airspace. This city isn't just modern, it's a vision of what tomorrow might look like if dreams had no limits. Can you imagine waking up in a stone village where the clouds brush medieval towers and snow blankets a forgotten world? Ushguli, Georgia, is Europe's highest permanently inhabited settlement. Tucked deep within the Greater Caucasus Mountains, this UNESCO-listed community in the Svaneti region is a hauntingly beautiful relic of time. At the heart of Ushguli stands the Lamaria Church, a 12th century stone sanctuary surrounded by watchtowers and legends. Locals believe it holds protective power, with women lighting candles here for generations. Even the journey to Ushguli, winding through glaciers and ancient forests, feels mythic. The Svan people speak their own language and preserve a culture steeped in hospitality and honor. In winter, the village becomes a silent, white dream, untouched by crowds or noise. What if your next adventure took you inside a mountain? Vardzia, Georgia, is a cave monastery city carved into the Arasheti cliffs above the Metkvari River. Hidden in southern Georgia, it's a marvel of medieval engineering and spiritual endurance. This isn't a ruin, it's a story etched into stone. Deep within the cave complex lies the Church of the Dormition, with 12th century frescoes still pulsing with color. One painting shows Queen Tamar, the ruler who commissioned the city, rare in history and art. The church remains active, its chants echoing through hollow stone corridors. Over 600 interconnected rooms, from bakeries to wine cellars, run through Vardzia's heart. These secret tunnels once sheltered monks and villagers from Mongol invasions. Many are still accessible, creating a labyrinthine journey through faith and resilience. Vardzia feels timeless. Wind whistles through doorways carved by hand. Silence speaks louder than words. It's George's Stone Hymn. One of Europe's oldest and deepest lakes, Lake Ohrid, is a shimmering time capsule tucked between the mountains of North Macedonia and Albania. With over 200 endemic species and towns that date back to antiquity, it's a place where nature and history breathe as one. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, this ancient city is crowned by a medieval fortress, Byzantine churches perched on cliffs, and cobblestone lanes that lead to lakefront cafes. The Church of St. John at Caneo, silhouetted at sunset, is pure serenity. Rising above the lake, this park offers panoramic views from alpine meadows to both Lake Ohrid and Lake Prespa. Wildflowers, eagles, and the cool mountain breeze make it a dream for hikers. Take a boat across mirror-still water, dine on freshly caught trout, or listen to Orthodox chants echo through stone churches. Ohrid isn't just a destination. It's a gentle step back into the deep, still waters of time.